Welcome, everybody. This is Nick Federoff, and you're listening to America's most listened to radio gardening show. Pat yourself on the back for that one. Hey, I've got something very exciting for you right now. On our thingsgreen.com hotline, we have John Collins. And John Collins, you know what? Just by the name of your product, I could tell that you're going to be a fun guy to talk to. How you doing today?
Great. How are you, sir?
I'm doing just fantastic, but it's going to get better because I am going to start using some PooPeas in my yard.
Well, before we get to that, let me tell you thanks on your induction into the Green Industry Hall of Fame.
Ah, you're too kind. Thank you very much. I'm more than happy to tell you that. Plus, tell everybody that my birthday is on January 14th.
Excellent.
You know, presents are welcome, by the way. Just, you know, I got to tell you something. You know, this is actually very exciting. When the guys told me about what it is that you do, I became a little bit skeptical about it because I've never been a big fan of using manures straight, of course, in gardening because there's a lot of there could be some negative things happening to it. But you you took all the negative things out of it. And the number one thing that I'm going to do over here, and I don't know if you know this, but I have a bag that I'm holding in my hand right now, and I'm going to do the smell test. And if I fall off of my chair over here, boy, we're going to have problems. You're going to have to do the rest of the interview by yourself, okay?
That's good. That's good.
So tell us a little bit. What's the story with the PooPeas here?
Well, you know, I grew up here in Idaho, and throughout Idaho and then elsewhere in the nation, there's these dairy and cattle operations everywhere. And growing up as a child, as I happened to be riding around with my grandfather, you know, we'd come down from the family ranch and go to Sunday coffee, et cetera. And all the time that we're doing this, every time we'd pass one of those operations, he'd say, "Smell the money." Yeah. And dang it, for years, for over 40 years, I couldn't figure out what in the heck he meant. But being in the green industry myself, I finally realized that there's a significant situation out there that needs addressed. Mm-hmm. And I did, over the years, finally figure out how to do it. Henceforth, we come up with PooPeas.
But you actually, coming up with PooPeas and driving by the dairies, and one of the things that I understand is that this has no odor to it. How are you smelling the money then?
It's before that part. That's kind of an old saying all the old cattlemen and the ranchers have out west out here, is smell the money every time you go past a cattle operation.
Well, PooPeas are the spreadable resource, and you've done something very different with the byproduct of all these dairies, and really exciting because you're packaging differently. You're doing things I've never seen any of this before, and like I said, I've been in the landscaping business all my life, and this is really exciting because this looks like something that we can use indoors as well as outdoors.
It works fantastic. It is literally so simple. People just don't get it. Mother Nature knew what the heck she was doing years ago. When America was at its healthiest, what did they use for their garden fertilizers and their pasture fertilizers and their crop fertilizers, etc.? Manure products.
Yes.
The only difference is I brought it from the cow to you minus the stink.
Okay. Well, I'm going to call you on that one right now.
Go for it.
I'm going to open up my. Now we're looking at a really snazzy packaging, by the way, and you've got this really great reusable bag, and then looks like we have a little tear thing that's going on here. So we're going to tear this top off, and that was pretty easy there. And then it just opens up, and it looks like it's resealable too. So that's no. Hey, look at this! You've got a little spoon in here.
Little scoop, pre-measured scoop.
Look at that. Okay. Now, I am a scientist at heart, so I'm not just going to stick my schnoz in here and start whiffing away, okay?
That's fine.
So we're gonna waft this, okay?
Okay.
Hey, wait a minute. Now I am going to stick my nose in there.
Let it breathe like fine wine.
Okay, I'll do so. That is such a nice, earthy smell.
Don't get your beard in it, though. It'll attract into the beard, and then you'll be able to smell it the rest of the day. It's like good perfume.
Okay, fair enough. We'll try to keep it as way as possible. But yeah, look at that. There's no smell to it. And I'm actually smelling animal byproduct here. Is that true?
Yes.
Wow.
We use 100% of the product.
These are
the actual timing, it takes 120 days to compost the product. We do it according to the Washington Organics Recycling Council. At that point in time, once that 120 days is up, and that process is like a lady baking a cake. Mm-hmm. There's time, temperature, turns, bake, time, temperature, turns, bake, until we kill the bad bugs, if you want to call in there, and regenerate the good bugs. And at that point in time, we take the product into the plant, it's granulated, dehydrated, and packaged as you see there today.
Now, one of the things I thought was really amazing about this is that I did see some reports that literally, I mean, this is not just something that you just threw into the bag. You've got scientific reports and testing done that says that this right here doesn't contain all of those nasties that you're talking about.
No, no. The process we run it through actually kills the weed seeds and the pathogens in the product itself, so you don't have to worry about any of that. We have the testing to prove that. Any of that type of stuff, we're very aware and want to offer our customers and the consumers one of the best products that we can. So that's first and foremost on the process that we process it by and how we do it.
Okay. Now, what about the actual usage itself? How am I going to be applying this, whether it's in an outside vegetable garden, landscape, or maybe just my houseplants? Because you've got this fancy little scoop in here, I can actually take it and use it for that.
Right. There's some directions on the back. Of course, there's different ways to do it. Firstly, I'd like to try to help people, the consumer itself, realize one thing. I want people to quit spreading fertilizer where they don't want to weed. I want people to fertilize underneath the plants, around each individual plant. Concentrate your goods on the plants you're trying to cultivate. Quit fertilizing where you don't want to weed, in between rows, etc. When you till your gardens up in the fall of the year, that will all get mixed in anyway and rebuild the soils. Secondly, that the directions on the bag are just basic directions. The beauty of the product is you can't burn any given item with it. You can't really over-apply it to a point where you're going to burn your tomatoes or your cucumbers or even a house plant. If you have something that's lethargic, for example, a tomato plant or even a house plant, there's a liquid direction there that you dissolve it in a glass of water. It takes 3 or 4 hours. You stir it up till it dissolves. It'll look like a real dark, rich root beer. Pour that on a house plant or a sick, ailing tomato plant. Within 10 days, you'll see a brand new start of growth.
I see. Well, you know what? This is just so exciting. Before I have another couple questions for you. First up, where do we get this?
PooPeas.com.
Okay.
www.PooPeas.com.
All right, that's PooPeas.com.
Yep.
And then I understand you're doing something that's called From Cow Pies to PooPeas. What's that all about?
Well, it's a little fundraiser campaign on Indiegogo.com. And it kind of gives a story about, and we're trying to put some humor into the manure business. And we've got the Farmer Outstanding in His Field Awards and the Green Thumb Award and the All Hat No Cowboy Award and all that type of stuff. And it basically just gives a little bit of a history behind what we're doing, our vision, what we'd like to do to try to help the cattlemen and the ranchers out in the United States and that type of stuff.
Well, that's very exciting. We've got about 10 seconds left, and I want to thank you very much for being on today's program with us. And definitely, John, we're going to have you back on the show so we can talk a little bit more about PooPeas, and we're going to see PooPeas.com. That is so fun. Congratulations with that.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Indeed. This is Nick Federoff with John Collins with PooPeas.